today I am headed to Gilmer, Texas to do some car camping in a 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser First Edition. Now, a couple things. I think when people hear car camping, there are a lot of different definitions out there. So I am taking this to be sleeping in the Land Cruiser. Like, I don't have a rooftop tent with me today. I don't have a tent at all. I'm actually pretty bare on the stuff I have. But I'm taking car camping to be driving, finding a campsite, and then sleeping in the Land Cruiser. But regardless, I plan to head to Barnwell Mountain Recreational Area, which is actually where this big off-road event called Toyota Jamboree is going on this weekend. It's my first time actually attending the event, but it's the largest gathering of Toyota enthusiasts and off-road vehicles, all kind of in one area. The park is great. There's a lot of different trails at various difficulty levels, so it's kind of a pick-your-own-adventure sort of thing. And yesterday, I definitely got the Land Cruiser a little bit dirty, which was a ton of fun. Basically, every Toyota I saw out there was modified to some capacity, like at least a set of all-terrain tires, but this Land Cruiser is Toyota's, so it is completely bone stock, and I'm very impressed with what I did. I didn't even air down yesterday. But anyways, I want to see how comfortable a Land Cruiser First Edition is for car camping, even when you don't have the most ideal setup like me. So let's see how, nonetheless, this thing does this weekend. Aside from spending a night sleeping in this vehicle, this is the first time I got an extended amount of seat time and put some miles on a 2024 Land Cruiser 250, so I was definitely just discovering it overall for the first time myself. The one thing I do not understand in the new Land Cruisers is why the volume knob is over here and not in the center. I get it, you know, the driver themselves can control the volume, but you can do that on the steering wheel over here. So when I was riding with passengers yesterday and they wanted to adjust the volume, they had to like reach completely over. So kind of weird, but I do appreciate the cooled seats. These, oh my God, this is legit. It's been hot here in Texas and it's basically like AC for my butt. Speaking of other cool things, look what I found in here. This, okay, it's not like a fridge or anything, but it's called a cool box, and it's not super big or anything, but it'll keep like drinks and stuff cool. What they told me is you don't want to store like meat in here or anything, but what I was doing was storing like a bunch of my snacks, and then also I have really dry skin, so like all my lotion and Vaseline and everything, so it didn't melt, and that's been working out really, really well. So love the cool box. How's it going?
How about yourself?
Can't complain, you know?
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah. One of the best things about the Toyota Jamboree event is wheeling with your friends, which is exactly what I did. Now, I just did mild trails since even though I was on a 33-inch tire, it was still kind of a street tire, but I'm always impressed with how these stock trucks perform. I'm nervous about coming off the rear end on that one. Oh, okay. That was less dramatic than I thought, sorry. But there was a lot more drama to be found at the Rock Garden. And while I was tempted to do the stock vehicle class, I decided it probably would be better to opt against that. Sorry guys. Another cool thing about the event was seeing Toyota's latest and greatest trucks and SUVs out on display. It's always fun looking at the new 4Runner and Tacoma up close. And at events like these, Toyota tends to put out some pretty cool stuff. Now, this isn't sponsored or anything, but after going to an Overland Expo event, I want to share a giveaway with you all that Toyota is doing. Alright you guys, I wanted to pop in here really quickly to tell you something really exciting going on. So behind us, Don, we've got a 2024 Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter. And what's Toyota doing?
Well, Toyota is running a sweepstakes. We are going to be giving away a all-new 2024 Trailhunter Tacoma and $25,000 of cash. It's actually going to be in this bronze oxide color that you see right here, our hero color. And so the way that you enter, which you might have been getting ready to ask me,
Yep,
is
that was my next question.
You can go to any number of events that Toyota is going to be at. The Overland Expo Series is where we're kicking it off. But if you aren't able to get to one of our events, that's the primary way, you can go to www.trailhuntersweeps.com and you can register there. It takes like 60 seconds. Again, you'll win one of these brand new Tacoma Trailhunters and $25,000 of cash. Does that sound good, Chloe?
That sounds like the best deal of a lifetime. So I'll have a link down in the description where you guys can enter, or like Don said, you can show up at any of the Toyota events, figure out how to enter, and good luck to all you out there.
I have one more thing to say that we just have to disclaim.
Okay.
So, not open to residents of Alaska and Hawaii. I'm sorry if you follow Chloe, Alaskans and Hawaiians, but we are not having that eligible, unfortunately, for you guys. But for everybody else, please register. It takes you, she said 90 seconds, I'd say 60 seconds. Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
I hope one of you guys wins it. That's my hope.
We would love for somebody to win this truck and go do the fun adventures that the whole Trailhunter brand is all about.
All right,
Great.
Enter, guys. So the special thing about the Land Cruiser First Edition is that for this grade, there are only 5,000 units being made. So they're gonna be pretty hard to come by. And I would assume that, you know, First Edition is really only a 2024 option. In 2025, they're only, I'm guessing, I don't know this, gonna have the 1958 and the Land Cruiser grades available. So this one really truly is special. And I don't know if I mentioned it yet or if you guys have seen. The specific one I'm driving today is in the color Trail Dust, which if we look up close is kind of like this tan, yellow, brown, but definitely has, you know, more yellow undertones, I would say. If you remember the color Quicksand from the Tacomas and Tundras back in the day, that was such a good color. This is very similar to that. Also, if you're a new Toyota geek like I am, I parked this thing next to the new 2025 4Runner TRD Pro that was in the color Mud Bath to see the color comparison. And it's really interesting. Mud Bath is a lot more muted, has a lot more gray undertones compared to this Trail Dust color here. Nonetheless, I think it's a pretty sweet looking color. Land Cruiser for 2024 is really interesting too because they really did, you could just tell based on the looks of this thing, try to lean into kind of that heritage aspect or heritage side of things. I mean, circular headlights, right? This is something actually exclusive to just the 1958 grade, which also is kind of interesting because that's the base model grade. It's not available in the mid-tier grade for 2024, which is the Land Cruiser, but it is standard on these first editions. So it's only on the base model and the top of the line model. But I'm team circle headlights over the square ones. Instead of the emblem itself, you see Toyota. I don't think I found the Toyota logo anywhere. It's just everything spelled out. And I mean, if we look at the front again, Toyota, Toyota again. So I originally thought that there was absolutely no Toyota emblem anywhere, except I wasn't looking in one of the most obvious places. So the center caps, they obviously have the Toyota emblem there. And then the other thing that has it is the key. So this one has a cover, but I'll take it off so you guys can see. So there's the logo, and then, ooh, if you look on the back here too, check this out. You get a little bit more Land Cruiser branding here. And it even shows up in some more subtle areas too.
You have these mud flaps, which kind of show off that you're one of the few and lucky people that got the Land Cruiser First Edition.
Right.
I know a lot of people like to delete mud flaps, but these are really classic and I think they look cool. They're kind of like rally inspired a little bit.
What's this strap for?
That's just to prevent them from flinging back at your tire.
Oh,
so
interesting.
That helps a little bit. And also, you know, when you come off something, helps bend it back and so it's not moving.
Oh, that's right.
It's kind of like a keeper strap.
I actually wasn't aware that these are a lot more flexible, but that makes a lot more sense. Seems like these are more advantageous than the ones I have on my Tacoma that are kind of stiff.
Yeah, those are a little bit more rigid, and these definitely have the pliability, so less likely to rip them off on the trail or anything like that.
But what is rigid are these fog lights. Literally. Rigid, the off-road lighting company, makes these, and you can switch them between white and amber depending on your dust and fog conditions. That's fun. And even though I didn't use them, there are factory rock sliders, I did find out this Land Cruiser takes premium fuel, and combined, I got a little under the advertised fuel economy of 23 miles to the gallon, but who knows if I could have been driving a little extra spirited in this hybrid iForce Max. And also, these interesting circular vents, I've been playing around with these are kind of funny, but I will say they do a good job. They rotate really, really well, so you can direct airflow wherever you want. The only thing I wish back here, and sorry, my shadow, the sun is directly pointing at me over here, and also, you know, my clothes and everything. But I was gonna say, the only thing I really wish is that in Land Cruiser, there was an option for third row seating. But in general with the Land Cruiser is you don't see like a lot of different options. You know, it's very basic. Everyone's gonna have the same engine. Everyone's gonna have the same drivetrain, but you know, some have more off-road features than the others. But kind of going back to what I was talking about is none of them have an option for third row seating, even though there are cup holders. And that's just because of North America. And I'd have to assume that if people are looking for third row seating, they're going to, you know, shop for the 4Runner instead. Maybe that's the target market that Toyota is going for. One of the Lexus GXs also has an option for third row seating, so maybe they just thought Land Cruiser owners weren't really going to care about that. And to be honest with you guys, now that I'm thinking about it, you know, I only have a dog, so it's like I don't really need the third row seating. And for stuff like today and stuff I talk about doing all the time, like camping, you know, not having the third row seating is prime. But yeah, if you do care about third row seating, just know, not an option in the Land Cruiser, unfortunately. But the lack of third row seating again helps my particular camping situation today when you fold down the second row, which was good because I didn't really feel like sleeping like this throughout the night. So it looks like from the back that you could just pull some latch. So I'm gonna see if I can reach around my other arm. Actually, maybe it's just this down here. Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. I mean, it moves up, but I wonder if, okay, so yeah, definitely not continuous. There is kind of that lip over here. This at first seemed inconvenient for sleeping, but when you move your stuff out, fold down the second row, and set up a 4-inch thick full-size air mattress with a foam padding. And shout out to my friend Joe here for hooking that up since, again, I was pretty bare. There's only one word I could use to describe my setup. Thank you. This is legit. Legit. Yeah, it's not a perfect fit, and flying into Texas really limited my carry-on options here, but you'll see that this basic setup was more than adequate for me. Obviously, you can get into much nicer dedicated setups for stuff like this, but this got the job done, and I'll get into sleeping impressions in the morning. Store my stuff down there. Perfect. I did end up bringing a mini electric water kettle and backpacking meal and utilized the 2400 watt inverter and AC outlet in the rear. And an unintended benefit of those third row cup holders are like little storage pockets for all my stuff too. This already smells so good. So, as my meal was rehydrating, I set up more of my sleeping stuff. So this is a rumple blanket. Shout out Paul from PNW Tuning who gifted this to me. It's a super nice camping blanket. I've gotten it wet and doesn't actually get wet, so that's pretty nice. It's perfect because it's not too thick, and that's great because it's, you know, a little bit hot and humid out here in Texas. So I think it's a great candidate for tonight. And with this air mattress, I think I'm set up real well in the Land Cruiser. Anybody knows that after a few days of off-roading and just hanging out in general, dinner with friends at camp is the best. That and some night wheeling in Joe's 4Runner had me totally ready for bed when we got back to camp. Good morning, you guys. Just woke up, got changed. I got a big smile on my face because this was a premium camping experience, in my opinion. Okay, here's the thing. My standard for car camping, right, or what I'm calling car camping, festival camping, whatever you want to call it, I am normally camping in my Toyota Tacoma. So I've got the 5-foot bed. It's not set up great for overlanding because, you know, I don't have a rooftop tent. But what I do have is a deck drawer system, and this is where I keep all of my tools. But what I really like about the deck is it creates a flat surface since it goes over the wheel wells, and that creates, you know, more surface area for sleeping in the bed. That has always been more than enough room to sleep there with my dog, you know, charge all my stuff with my Jackery. I have no problems fitting in the bed of that truck. I do have to sleep diagonal, but overall it's not too bad. And I don't sleep in my open truck bed. I have this truck bed tent, although that thing it's been through the ringer, and I think it's time to either upgrade or get a new one. But anyways, that's a story for another time. So I wasn't sure how camping in the Land Cruiser was gonna go because I was really bare bones in my setup here. All I had was this rumple blanket and a small travel pillow, honestly. I got pretty lucky with the sleeping pad situation because this was a game changer. This was, dare I say, almost as comfortable as my bed at home. I know, but space is one big thing, and I feel like I had a ton of it. I could have fit a second person in here, a dog. So being here alone, this was more than enough room for me. People who are looking for a more permanent solo sleeping setup could entertain some half down, half up seating situation like this too. The only thing was because the rear seats don't fold down flat, again, as you guys saw last night, contiguous with the kind of bed or cargo space area, it kind of slopes down. But the good thing is this 4-inch air mattress with a foam padding in it, you know, conforms to the space. So yes, it was kind of awkward because depending on where I was at, I could be at a really weird angle, but it actually felt really good on my back because I was kind of elevated up there. So I ended up really liking that. The good thing was it didn't get too hot in here. Now, it's been in the 70s and 80s at night, and I think I kind of just lucked out. But the temperature situation was really comfortable, and my plan was going to be to, you know, leave the Land Cruiser running idle if it got really hot, or at least do that for a little bit, but I didn't have to do that at all. I think I slept through the night completely. One thing to note about Toyota hybrid tech is that it is nice for camping at night with like the AC running, for example, while minimizing fuel consumption. But it does auto shut off at some point. The motor's on right now, but it's so quiet in here. I think this thing has acoustic glass. What I also like is this Land Cruiser was clearly designed for people with more headroom. And that's very evident, you know, when you're driving up front. It was kind of funny. I had the seat raised all the way up because I'm only 5'5". And I was like, I thought this thing had a heads up display, but I couldn't remember in my head. And then like an hour into driving, I like, you know, sat up a little bit straighter and I was like, oh my God, there it is. There is a lot of headroom in here. I've had people come in and try to sit down and no one, even the guys that are like 6'4", 6'5", haven't had issues fitting in here. Because of the rain too, I feel like this was a much better option than a rooftop tent. Tearing down a rooftop tent right now would have sucked. I've seen a couple people do it out here. I've been able to do everything from inside the cab, so that's been really nice. I haven't had my coffee yet, so now that the truck is actually on, I can use the 2400 watt inverter, make some coffee. I really did think this was a great platform for my little off-road and camping trip at Toyota Jamboree. And if you still don't believe me, this is what I texted my mom in the morning. And no sane person lies to their mom, right? I told her I had a premium experience because I definitely did. I'm very thankful to have the opportunities to make these memories just by sharing activities and vehicles I genuinely enjoy. And I hope you like coming along on my trip to my first time at Jambo. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you like this one, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.